Oh my God, look at that picture over there. There's the Earth coming up. Wow, is that pretty?
Prize event. We're thrilled to have you join us from wherever you are across the world, celebrating the skill of astrophotographers. Today we'll be showcasing some incredible images, and shortly we'll begin the live judging of the top 17 images in the remote imaging category. I'm Robyn Campbell. I'm the competition coordinator. I make sure things happen behind the scenes, and I am hosting your event today. Behind the scenes, we also have Laurent Lamberty, who is doing our live streaming, and he is incredible, and Daniel Bingham, who has done all of our software. If you're looking for great awards judging software, he is your guy. So thank you to both of you guys for all you do to help make this event so seamlessly perfect. Before we begin, we are broadcasting from Australia. In Australia, we have a custom that we perform at the beginning of meetings that bring people together. It's called the Acknowledgement of Country. So I'd like to acknowledge the Wurundjeri Wurrung people of the Kulin Nation, the traditional custodians of the land on which this event is being hosted today. We pay our respects to their elders, past, present, and emerging. We also recognise the rich and enduring knowledge of the skies held by Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander peoples. Long before Western astronomy, Aboriginal ancestors studied the stars, gave names to celestial bodies, and used them to interpret star maps and songlines. Their understanding of the night sky, passed down through generations, remains an integral part of Australia's cultural heritage. We honour their deep connection to the night sky. This event would also not be possible without the generous support of our sponsors. Thank you so much to our major sponsors. So NEAC, amazing. NEAC is sponsoring the event and live stream. This is the Northeast Astro Imaging Conference, which will be around next year on the 7th and 8th of April in New York. So grab your tickets, head on over, get your airfares now. It goes for 2 days. There are 28 talks, 15 presenters, including Wolfgang, as well as workshops, equipment showcases, vendor exhibits, and door prizes. So check out NEAC. We'd also like to thank our overall Astrophotographer of the Year sponsor, Stellarvue. Stellarvue is giving away for the overall winner an SVX 102T telescope worth over 3,000 USD. Based in California and specializing in handcrafted precision telescopes. So check out Stellarvue, they're on our website. Good luck to all our entrants for winning it. We also have our category sponsors. So this particular category is sponsored by Deep Sky West. So Deep Sky West operate a remote observatory in both New Mexico and Chile. They offer access to clear skies and advanced equipment for astrophotographers all over the world without needing to travel or own your own gear. As we're judging the remote category, everyone listening probably is aware of this already, but Deep Sky West have a high altitude site of 7,400 feet near Rowan, New Mexico, with dark skies and ideal weather conditions, as well as their site in Chile. So you can get a subscription with Deep Sky West, which allows 40 to 60 astrophotography targets per year, with a minimum of 16 hours integration per target. What is very, very cool is we actually have Lloyd here with us tonight, so I'll introduce him in a moment, and he runs Deep Sky West, and they have generously given for our first prize winner a full annual subscription worth 1,500 USD. So the winner can choose between New Mexico or Chile, which is pretty awesome. And then runner up is a subscription valued at $300 USD. So incredibly generous. Thank you so much to Deep Sky West. Our third prize is sponsored by Astrography. It's a $200 US voucher. Astrography are renowned for blending scientific accuracy with captivating design in space-related printing products. So you can get your images beautifully printed. So together our sponsors contribute, which allows us to give amazing prizes to the entrants. So thank you so much. After we finished our live judging session, we will have a special presentation for you by Lloyd Smith, which is fantastic. He is going to be talking all about what they do at Deep Sky West and how you can get access to remote imaging and so forth. During his presentation, you can also pop some questions in the YouTube chat and ask him what it's all about. Following his presentation, we will be awarding the remote imaging category, so make sure you stay online to watch that. Now, the cool bit, I get to introduce our judges. First up, I am going to introduce Lloyd. So, Lloyd, welcome.
Hello, good morning. Thank you. Great to be here.
Fantastic. So, Lloyd is the founder of Deep Sky West Remote Observatory, and it basically grew from your love of astrophotography, I understand.
Yeah, it's one of the things that I do. I wanted to be able to take the pretty pictures I saw in the magazines, so I started in my backyard, and as I do, I ended up with a full-blown business and 5 employees just a few years later. So when I learned golf, I learned to make golf clubs. It's a thing.
It's a thing. I'm sure everyone really appreciates your expansion there. That's absolutely fantastic. I do wonder what will come next. As long as you're not planning to, challenge Hubble or anything, it might get a little bit expensive by the time you go on some spaceships.
It could get out of hand. It could get out of hand. My making hobby is expensive.
I love it. We're going to look forward to hearing more about that after the judging as well. Next, I would like to welcome Strongman Mike Sidonio. So from Australia as well, Canberra, known as Strongman Mike because he has a background in strength athletics as well as astronomy. So he worked at the Canberra Observatory and retired from strongman competitions in 2005. However, I think his strength is actually in astrophotography because he's discovered a galaxy 11 million light years away, and he has constructed Australia's highest astronomical observatory. Welcome, Mike.
Hello, everybody.
So good to have you here. I hear you're not up in your observatory tonight. You're down on the ground.
No, I decided to come down. Yes, I'm in Canberra, Australia, the capital, and I'm only at about 550 meters.
You are. Good stuff. And last but not least, we can welcome Wolfgang Promper from Vienna, Austria. Welcome, Wolfgang.
Good morning. Welcome.
Although he spent his early years in Wodonga, Australia, just down the road from us, he then returned to Austria. He's a former professional musician turned astrophotographer. He has 30 years experience in astroimaging, from backyard setups to remote observatories. So he's well and truly qualified to be judging your images. He does focus as well on image processing philosophy. So bit of an all-rounder, all those years of experience. Thanks so much,
Thank you
Wolfgang.
very much. Thank you.
So great having you on board. And finally, we're honored to introduce your panel chair, Andy Campbell, who is also my husband. He is competition director and he's a renowned astrophotographer in his own right, Grand Master of the former AIPP and Fellow of the NZIPP. He's the winner of the Deep Sky section of the David Malan Awards and 4 times shortlisted for the Royal Greenwich Observatory International Astronomy of the Year. He's twice Australian Science Photographer of the Year and has numerous NASA APOD features. And he's going to be guiding our discussion and leading the live judging sessions. So thank you, Andy. Welcome.
Good evening, good afternoon, good morning, and good night, everybody. Hope you're doing all well.
Well, I'm hoping it's not good night already. We've got some images to judge. Before we start that, though, we're going to do a preview. So we're just going to do a run through of the images we're going to be judging, and I will start that now.
While the preview is happening, I'll mention the category preamble. The category features astronomical images captured from commercially operated remote observatories. The category is intended for photographers who use commercially run remote observatories to capture their data, yet utilize their own skills and creative abilities to produce award-worthy imagery. So that's what we're looking at.
That's brilliant. Lovely. So that is your preview. So what I'm going to do now is hand you over to Andy, and when he is ready, I will start the judging.
Sounds good. All right. Well, judges, let us begin. Let's have the first image up, please. The entrance statement: stars as far as the eye can see, bright and fainter stars in the field, and Messier 22 as the majesty in the picture. Taken at IAS Hakos Remote Observatory in Namibia. We are looking at 3 hours and 50 minutes of exposure time on a 10-inch Newtonian f4.5 using chroma filters. Gentlemen, I will ask you to score this one, please. For the benefit of the audience, the judges will be scoring each image out of 100, and we will be averaging that score, which I will now announce, which is 90. Gold award, straight up. Boom. Congratulations to the entrant. Got yourself a gold award. The scores are very similar here, so we might just call on Lloyd to comment on this one. Straight into it, Lloyd, if you wouldn't mind. Could you talk to the image, please?
Yeah, I would enjoy that quite a bit, because I enjoy this image quite a bit. I've shot this, as many of us have, and I wasn't smart enough to capture this particular framing, which I think is outstanding. The color rendition of the stars hits me just so. It's a pet peeve of mine for that to be spot on, and the color variety, depth, and the amount of saturation in those stars is very natural looking. So this is an enjoyable image. One other thing to mention is just the rendering of the star field itself outside of the DSO is very well controlled.
Fantastic comments. Thank you so much, Lloyd. This image has scored a gold award. Let us move on to the next image, please. The entrance statement is 2 oxygen rings of Cygnus, an elusive new discovery whose nature is not yet known, and the emissions of Wolf-Rayet star number 134. Location is Roboscopes in Spain. I'll just go straight over that. This is taken on a custom 14-inch f3.3 Newtonian, and the exposure time is 56.6 hours. I should mention for the benefit of the live stream audience that the judges have all of this technical information at their fingertips, and they also have had the opportunity to study these images at full resolution, 100%, so they can pixel peep every single moment in every corner to analyze these to the best of their ability. Just need your score, please, Lloyd. Thank you so much. This image scores a very solid gold award at 93. Congratulations to the entrant. Got yourself a gold. That's very exciting. Judges' scores are all very, very similar. And Wolfgang, your score is right there on the average of 93.
Yeah, I
Could you
know.
talk to this one, please?
Yeah, it's a great image. The object is fascinating. The framing is great. It has a kind of dynamic through that. Yeah, that circular O3 part is up on the right side. The blending of RGB and narrowband is just beautiful. It's a lovely image.
And just for
Very
the
well done.
thank you so much, Wolfgang. And just for the
Yeah.
benefit of anyone watching online, could you share a little bit of information about what is a Wolf-Rayet star?
Well, we would need Tanya Hill
I
for
know.
that now. Yeah. A Wolf-Rayet star is a star that, or maybe Mike can jump in on that. Yeah.
Well,
That
they're pretty big stars. They're very energetic.
They blow out. Yeah, they are very
Extremely
energetic.
very
Yeah,
large
they
stars, yeah.
blow out. And if you look at the image, that circular feature you see, yeah, up there is basically pretty symmetrical. Yeah,
They're good
and
at
that
blowing
is
big bubbles.
yeah, and that is where the star blew out.
Fantastic. Thank you so much for
I
that.
just had a quick comment.
Sorry, yeah, jump in, Mike.
I was going to say, one of the things I really liked about this image was the feeling that that object in the top right's in the wind. The wind's blowing from the right, and it's just blowing all that hydrogen alpha right across the frame. I've seen this image, this object image, a few times in my time, and this has just done a great job at framing it in a way that makes it incredibly interesting. It almost looks physical or electric, some sort of physics experiment going on with lightning bolts. It's fantastic, really, really good.
Fantastic feedback. Thanks, gentlemen. We'll go to the next image, please. This one has scored 93. All right, the information is the Dark Wolf, Barnard 228. This is captured at Chiliscope in Chile on the ASA 500mm Newtonian f3.8 telescope. We're looking at 3 hours and 30 minutes of data through an FLI 16803 camera. And this image has scored 89. Not quite gold award, but a very, very high and solid silver. We do have a little bit of time on our hands if we would like to discuss or challenge this image. So, gentlemen, are you happy with that score, or would you like to? We're happy?
Yeah, I think so.
Yep. All right. We're going to accept that score of 89, but we'll get a call for some comment on that one. Mike, your score is 89.
Well, there you go. Spot on. It's lots of good things to say about this image. One of the things I like in astro images is when the stars look like stars and they have a brightness to them. Now, in modern image processing, a lot of people try to minimize the stars, which is great because it emphasizes the nebula, but you lose the feeling that you're looking at actual stars and they become dots or something that are just not part of the frame. This is beautifully done because the main stars particularly look like they're shining, and after all, that's what stars do. So it contrasts really lovely. It's really lovely with the dark, dusty nebulosity. So really good image, nicely framed. It's interesting and slightly minimalist. I do like that.
Mike, just one last thing. As this image has scored right on the cusp of 89, what do you think would help the entrant to just push it along a little bit further to get those extra few points to get to those rare and elusive golds?
Oh, Yeah, that's a good question. I guess technically there's it looks like a small amount of elongation in the stars in the top right-hand corner. Totally minor thing, but at this caliber of competition, we see these things and it's kind of, wow, we have to kind of take them into account. Perhaps it's just not grabbing me enough because the field's a bit too narrow. Again, that's not a negative. It's just trying to answer the question you've given me. Images have to grab the judges. I guess they have to grab the viewer. So it's really nearly there at fully grabbing. It probably wasn't that helpful. It's a fairly nebulous answer, I know, pardon the pun. But still, it's a fantastic image.
Nebulous answer about a nebula. I like that. Thanks, Mike. We'll move on to the next image, please. All right. One large and countless small galaxies. NGC 3521 is a member of a class of galaxies known as flocculent spirals, a fascinating object with many special features. This is taken from IAS Hakos Remote Observatory in Namibia on the 10-inch Newtonian f4.5 with the QHY 268M camera. Total integration time, 22 hours, 21 minutes. Image score is 91. Congratulations, got yourself a gold award. Fantastic. Speaking of 91, Lloyd, that's your score, sir. Would you talk to this image, please?
Yeah, this is, as I pan around through this image, there's a couple of things that really jump out at me that are super positive. Of course, the galactic halo is notable here, and it is it is clearly very naturally processed. And so the gradation from the background to the foreground is quite nice. If I would offer any constructive criticism, I would say, for me, I'm a little more aggressive. I would probably punch up the a little bit, saturation. And but one thing to note is the background stars, one more time here, are very well controlled. And I appreciate that. The smoothness of the background is highly believable. This is a solid image.
Thanks so much, Lloyd. It has a very strong three-dimensional feel to it, doesn't it?
It has depth for certain.
Yeah. The stars seem to lead you into the object in this one.
And the background captures are well too. I would not be surprised if the author did not treat even some of the small background galaxies individually.
Fantastic.
Looks good.
You guys are giving great feedback. Thank you. Let's move on to the next image. The entrance statement is SH2263, also referred to as the Raspberry Nebula. It is a faint, diffuse reflection and emission nebula in Orion. Sadly, it's overlooked in favour of the better-known nebulae in Orion, presenting this subtle and delicate nebula and the small galaxies too. The mix of nebulosity and small galaxies appealed to me in an attempt to harmonise and balance both. Taken at Observatorio El Source in, I believe that's in Chile, on a plane wave CDK 6700. 25 hours exposure. The image score is 84. That's a solid silver award. Congratulations to the entrant. Michael, your score is 84. Could I ask you to make a comment about this one, please?
Yes, it's a lovely image. I find the colouring pleasant, but I also find the colouring a little bit confusing. I'm not quite sure whether it's the type of magenta that's come through here in the processing. It's just part of the object, perhaps. It doesn't have that pleasing quality to it in that respect. It's slightly, the smoothing, the noise reduction just looks a little bit obvious at full size. But I like the intrigue of the sort of the mistiness of it, which is certainly a positive. But it's just not grabbing me to a level where I could go higher than 84.
Thank you so much, Mike. It looks a little bit like a Christmas decoration on my screens. Very pretty image. Congratulations to the entrant for the silver award. Sorry, Lloyd, did you want to contribute something there?
No, I'm okay. I'm okay.
Okay.
I agree
No,
with what
good.
was said. I do find it a very intriguing area, and it's not imaged all that much. And this has been a good attempt to make that look quite interesting.
Thank you so much. We'll move on to the next image, please, team. All righty. The information from the entrant is Deep Space Homer Simpson, a 4-panel mosaic of the Vela supernova remnant. The capture is from Yass, New South Wales in Australia, using an FSQ 106 EDX3 telescope and an ASI 6200 camera. We're looking at 48 hours of integration time on the Vela supernova remnant. This image scores 91. Gold award. Boom. Congratulations to the entrant. Let's hear some commentary, though. The scores are all very, very similar, so we'll just go straight to a comment on this one. Let's hear from Lloyd.
Yeah, this image is, if I have a tinge of jealousy in my voice, it's understandable. This is a very difficult object. It's very well rendered here. I don't think there are that many very examples as successful as this one. Notice the fineness of the tendrils and the gas on the lower portion of the image on the right side. Very delicate. And I believe this object is quite a bit larger than we're able to see here. So one could go on forever. This is well handled. One last thing again, the stars in the background, albeit them small, they still maintain their color integrity. Well done.
Thanks very much, Lloyd. Pareidolia is an extraordinary thing on deep sky objects. And yes, there are definitely a bug-eyed, cartoon-like feature here in the Vela supernova remnant, which you can also see as my background here, because it's a beautiful target that never fails to deliver. There's always something to be seen or imaged within the Vela supernova remnant, but here the entrant has presented us with almost the entire object itself of this star that exploded 11,000 years ago and scattered its stuff all over the universe. So fabulous thing to look at.
An impressive object.
It is indeed. Let's move on to the next image, and congratulations to the entrant for bringing us Homer Simpson. Image C2021A1 Comet Leonard, taken in LRGB from Chile on attack FSQ 106 ED. 12 by 2-minute exposures, total of 24 minutes integration on a FLI PL 16083 camera.
I just don't have it yet.
Thanks, Mike. When you're ready.
Yeah, it just hasn't come up on my end.
Maybe refresh your screen, perhaps.
Ah, as simple as that.
There you are.
Coming down a little bit on the slow side.
All right, just let us know if there's anything we can do to assist.
Yeah, just give me a few seconds.
That's all right. We'll talk amongst ourselves. I'll share my love of Vela because it's such a fantastic object to find things within to shoot. It's just extraordinary how the that gaseous material has been scattered so speedily across space. I mean, I understand that Herschel's ray is in there, and that's traveling at 500,000 kilometers an hour away from us, which is amazing when you think about those sort of speeds at that rate.
Nearly there. It's definitely got a bit of a. I've got a bit of a slowdown glitch here. Loading very slowly. Sorry, viewers, on my end.
It's all good. My understanding is that when the stellar material hit dust in that Vela region, that it's superheated various bits of that dust, which is why we see these glowing tendrils of ionized oxygen, which the entrant in the previous image rendered in that blue color, which is pretty amazing. So for those in the audience who aren't aware, Lloyd is coming to us from Atlanta in the United States. Wolfgang's coming to us from Vienna in Austria. And Mike, myself, and Robyn are all here from Melbourne, Australia. Oh, sorry, I beg your pardon. Mike's not from Melbourne, Australia. He's from capital Canberra.
Yes, which has suddenly got a slow internet connection for some unknown reason in the middle of an international, worldwide judging procedure. Excellent.
Daniel, if you're in the background, is there anything that you can suggest that might help Mike?
Sorry, I can't think of anything that would really help.
If Mike logs in from the phone, perhaps?
Phones are generally slower.
Might be on a different
But
network.
he could try. Yes, he could certainly try.
Yeah, it might be on a mobile network.
While we're talking amongst ourselves, let's ask you, gentlemen, what's your favorite object? Do you have a favorite object to image? Lloyd, do you have one? Sorry, you're on mute.
Yeah, my favorite object is really quite boring, I think, to most people. I have shot the Orion region a lot and just sort of explored around there. It's one of my favorite regions because it's so diverse. With the boogeyman, remember that from earlier last night? There were two, I think one or two exceptional examples of that. But it is chock full of material with Barnard's Loop. It's a very beautiful area. It's well known and it's easy to communicate about it with your average person because they've all seen it. And I tell them, you see that sword thing at the end of the sword? Well, this is what it really looks like. And it always blows them.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, Lloyd. I think we're back live.
Well, I got enough. Yes, I did see it.
Pardon the interruption there, viewers. This image has scored 86, a very solid silver award, almost unanimous with the judges. And we'll call on Wolfgang, because we haven't heard from you in a little while, to make comment on this one, please.
Well, not being a comet specialist, now I would need to call on my friend Gerald. But yeah, it's a pretty striking image. I like the way that it goes up in the middle, so it kind of rises, and a beautiful star field as well. I mean, these things are not easy to achieve because the comet is moving. So great sharpness in the tail. Yeah, I like it a lot. It has a little bit of noise, but that is normal because you need to do short exposures. Very, very beautiful image.
Thank you so much, Wolfgang. That's good feedback. I'd ask you to share a little bit more about cometary imaging, but it's not your field, so we'll save that for another day.
Okay.
Can I say something quickly?
Go ahead.
Can I say something?
Yeah.
Oh, cool. Yes, when it finally I got to see it, had a good look at it. It's very, very nostalgic for me because I'm old enough to have taken photographs of Halley's Comet in 1985 and 1986. Some pretty good ones for the time, with large format film and large format cameras and lenses. And this was quite nostalgic for me. I really enjoyed it. It did remind me a little bit of Halley's Comet in the early stages around March 1986. It was cool. So I'd just like to say that.
Thanks, Mike. We're just losing your audio there at the moment, so we'll move on if that's okay.
Okay, sorry.
That's all good. Next image, please. Okay.
I got that one quick.
The entrance statement. IC2631 is the brightest reflection nebula in the Chameleon complex. It is a gorgeous reflection nebula that has a lot of fine detail. The RGB is from the CDK 700, and it's registered with the more detailed luminance from the 1 meter telescope to get details. A bright blue reflection nebula with dust, IC2631 is lit by the massive young bright star HD 97300. IC2631 is effectively an incubator for a number of very young protostars. The image is a mix of reflection and dust components, and harmonizing them was the intent of the entrant for this image. And as I suggested, it's been taken on a Planewave CDK 1000, a Planewave CDK 700, and the image score is 85. Solid silver award. The judges are all very similar there with their scoring. So let's hear from Wolfgang.
Yes. Well, basically, this is a very nice region. It's not easy to shoot. Even maybe from Australia, it's a little bit better. From Chile or Namibia, where I have my observatory, it's not so easy because it's still pretty low, you know. The image itself, when I look at it at a lower resolution, is very, very striking. When I pull up the higher resolution, then I see a mix of a little bit of over sharpening in the center. I see a mottled background from noise reduction, and interestingly, still a little bit of noise in the dust regions. So I think it could really benefit from a little bit of that all and a little bit less stretching. I just think it's overstretched. Otherwise, it's a very nice rendition of that object.
Thanks so much, Wolfgang. It's a striking object, that one. I'm not personally familiar with it, but I like the way the waves, you get a sense of movement within that one.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it almost spirals in. Yeah.
Exactly right. Very good. Well, congratulations to the entrant for Solid Silver Award, and let's move on to the next image. The universe is so colourful. They are interstellar clouds of dust, molecules, hydrogen, helium, and other ionized gases in which new stars are born in IC 2177, aka the head of the Seagull Nebula. This is from IAS Harkos Remote Observatory in Namibia on a QHY 268M, a 10-inch Newtonian, and we're looking at 11 hours and 43 minutes of exposure. Oh, you guys were quick. Sorry, I barely finished reading that out, and the score's in there. This image has scored 90. I need to lift my game. Scores are almost unanimous on this one, team. Lloyd, let's hear from you.
Yeah, this is an interesting area I've shot over the years quite a lot. What's impressive here is look at this thing in kind of layers. The star layer, if you will, is balanced well with the nebulosity in the background. So I really enjoy the way that this flows from left to right, the gradient that kind of goes down into darkness. I pixel peeped this thing to no avail. There's no reason to. It is nearly pristine as presented.
And it's a very beautiful version of it. There's a real three-dimensionality to it,
Yes.
which I've just
Notice the blue stars are and you see stars in open clusters like that, and sometimes that when you see these blue ones rendered this well, with the O3 that's inherent in the core of the image, the blue stars really strike me as well done. The yellow ones, the white ones, and the fact that I'm saying all these colors tells you how well that's been done.
Fantastic. Thanks so much, Lloyd. That's excellent feedback for the entrant. Could we see the next image, please? What we're looking at here is supernova remnant around Theta Muscae, SNR G304.4-31. This is from Yass, New South Wales, Australia, taken on a Takahashi FSQ 106 EDX3 on an ASA 6200mm camera. Total exposure time is 22 hours, almost 23 hours. This image scores 91. Gold award. Congratulations to the entrant. Let's see now. This is in our part of the world, Mike. It's one for you to talk about, and your score is 91.
Yeah, it's just up the road. This particular object is something that's only really been showing its face fairly recently, to be honest. I haven't seen a lot of these until the last little while, a couple of years perhaps. And it was intriguing. It's like a little animal, like a dinosaur. I almost feel like I want to turn it into portrait, so I get that dinosaur walking across the middle of the frame. The stars are nice and sharp. It feels just slightly matte, maybe over sharpened in the central regions. That's a bit of a feeling in the look. And also on the left-hand side, that big dark section is perhaps affecting the composition slightly. I mean, we're splitting straws here, but this is the level of the competition, and we need to do it. But I think it's a fantastic image, and the person who took it should be very proud of it. It's very good.
Thank you, Mike. I'm
You know,
familiar
I
with
noticed,
this. Go ahead, Lloyd.
I'm sorry, I'm not that familiar with this object. I haven't shot it myself, but I do notice with the HA, there's these, what I'll call little bow shocks, and there's a star on the upper left corner that exhibits that. That's very cool that that detail was preserved. Same thing on the upper right side of, I noticed that. It must have been difficult to ascertain if, is it real? And if so, how best do I bring it out?
Exactly right. For what it's worth, I've imaged this one myself recently once I became familiar with it after, I think it was Bray Falls who captured the first version of this. And the star field is incredibly dense and very bright. And the entrant has done a terrific job of muting that to a degree so that we can see the subtlety of this nebula and this object a little more prominently. So very well done to the entrant. Next image, please. My screen has not yet refreshed. Let me just refresh my screen. There we go. There we go. Entrance statement. An impressive contrast of light and non-light. The dark nebulae Barnard 276 is an active star-forming region, and it's very cold there at minus 260 degrees centigrade. This is taken at IAS Hakos Remote Observatory in Namibia on the QHY 268M camera with a 10-inch Newtonian at f4.5. Total exposure time, 11 hours and 10 minutes. And boy, you guys are quick. Straight into it with a score of 89. Mr. Sidonio.
Yeah, I'll challenge that.
I think you should, because you're, well and truly more than 5 points away from the average score. How an elective challenge works is Mike gets to speak first. We'll then go to the lowest scorer. We'll possibly go to another and then back to Mike for right of reply. Mike can't change his score at 95, but he can talk to the image now. Go ahead.
Excellent. Okay, for me, this image spoke to me. So we've got a field of stars that are all very similar temperature, so they're all very similar color. They're a beautiful golden color. And it reminded me of the surface of our own star through a hydrogen alpha filter. So I had this beautiful combination of a real star through a hydrogen alpha filter. It was just like this, like a sunspot on a star. And this is a beautiful field of stars. I love the simplicity of it. I think the color is beautiful. I think the stars are perfect. And let's not forget, this was taken with just a 10-inch Newtonian, f4.5. Okay, at a good sight, fine. But for me, the equipment used to produce an image that well really needs to lift its score over just what you see, in my opinion. Otherwise, fantastic. Love it.
Thanks so much, Mike. Lloyd's given a not quite as high a score as yours. Lloyd, could I ask you to comment on this one, please?
Yeah, sure. I agree with what was described in this field. Certainly not one I'm an expert at. Kind of the one accent or hit that I expect to feel each time is definitely a little bit of foreground to background depth. And I think it's fairly well rendered here, but I may have been a little bit tough. I wanted it to really, really jump off at me and hit me with the fortissimo, if you know what I mean. And I think it's done well. The color rendition is outstanding.
Fortissimo. That's my new word for the day, I think. Thanks, Lloyd. That's terrific. Love that.
We could crescendo
Okay.
into that.
Yeah.
Yeah, Mike's also an opera singer, by the way. Let's hear from Wolfgang on your thoughts on this one, please, sir.
Yeah, I mean, it's a great image of this region. And I pretty much agree with what Mike and Lloyd said. To me, it's a little bit too flat. And I know the stars there have almost all the similar color. Still, to me, it's a little bit too yellow. Otherwise, yeah, beautiful, beautiful.
Thanks so much, Wolfgang. Mike, back to you, sir.
All right, well, I'll just, because I have a right of reply, this wonderful system, I would say a lot of the colouring of the star is actually caused by interstellar reddening. So the stars are actually all that colour, partly because the light from them is coming through attenuated dust. And that region of the Milky Way, I think it's Ophiuchus, isn't it? It has quite a bit of dust, and that's contributing to that beautiful, that yellowness. So maybe just take that into consideration. Anyway, I've kind of said everything in the first instance, so maybe it's just speaking to me, this one.
Thanks so much, team. Mike's score of 95 is locked in, and gentlemen, you are free to rescore based on whatever you feel after the debate. The image remains at 89.
Oh, try hard.
But we gave it a good shot, and we've learned a little bit about some amazing things there. Thank you so much, Mike, and
No worries.
We'll move on to the next image. Okay. This image shows the Southern Cross area of the Milky Way to the Magellanic Clouds and the dusty Apus and Chameleon regions in between. It's taken from Swan Reach Observatory here in South Australia on an ASCAR 200mm lens with a ZWO ASI 6200 MC Pro full-frame camera, looking at 48.5 hours of integration. And it's a mosaic. Each panel is 52 minutes. And the score is 86. Congratulations, a very solid silver award. Well done to the entrant. Judges are almost unanimous in their scoring on this one of 86. Wolfgang, this is one that we might ask you to talk about, please, sir.
Yeah, sure. I mean, it's a great effort to shoot this. Actually, I've never seen it like that, where you have the Magellanic Clouds and you have the Milky Way above and all the dust in between. There's something you could zoom around endlessly. It's probably very difficult to do because when you pull up the full resolution, you have all those huge amount of stars, which is like salt on the image. I miss the color a little bit. So when you look at like the running chicken or Ida Carino or whatever, it's a little bit washed out. It could benefit from a little bit more pop, what I would say. Yeah, otherwise pretty amazing to do something like that. Yeah.
Thanks so much, Wolfgang. Really appreciate all the insights that you gentlemen are giving to the entrants here. Can we go to the next image, please? This is a two-panel high-res mosaic from Insight Observatories. It's Lijiang Gemini Observatory in China, taken on an AG optical 10-inch f5.6 telescope with an ASI 6200 full-frame camera, 71 hours of exposure time. And the image score is 89. Solid silver award. We have scores of 87, 93, and 88 on that one. Let's take some commentary on this one. We might hear from Lloyd.
Yes, I like this image. There's a number of interesting features. Those of us who've shot this, which is probably most of us, the cone itself at the bottom, and what's been called kind of the lion's head feature, just off right center. I think the existence of those features in this field would make one want to make sure that we distinctly look at the stars as a layer, the background as a layer, and the interesting features. So the constructive criticism I would give here is to punch up that detail to the extent you can in the center right area. Likewise, almost as well as was done with the cone itself. There's a distinct difference in the treatment there, but overarching, this is a really solid example.
Thanks so much, Lloyd. That's terrific feedback. This is amazing. You guys are doing great. Can we have the next image, please? Hey, Messier 83, a barred spiral galaxy in perfect shape. Away from the main object, the background invites you to take a closer look with so many wonderful little galaxies. This is taken at a remote observatory in Namibia using a QHY 268M camera, a 10-inch Newtonian f4.5 telescope, and we're looking at 17 and a half hours of integration time. And the image is scored 90. Boom! Gold award. Congratulations to the entrant. We have very, very, very similar scoring with the judges. Lloyd, you're actually bang on 90. Let's hear from you again, please, sir.
Yeah, sure. A very well done image. Just standing back from it a little bit, you get to see the from the galactic core. You see the spread down into darkness, which is very smoothly done. I think too that the rendering of the stars all the way to the corners, and I looked at every one of them, is nicely done. I have no complaints there. I have a compliment there. Note that in some of the brighter stars, you have a bright core that's nearly white, but not white. And then it trails off into more saturation on the fringes. Always look for that, and this image demonstrates it quite well. Only thing I would do, again, it's a stylistic probably. I would add a little bit more crunch. Some people call it sharpness, but call it crunch and pop to the galaxy, maybe touches of blue and the HA. Other than that, this is hard to beat.
Fantastic. Thanks, Lloyd. I wonder if, just as a thought for the entrant, that perhaps is that star at the top right corner, is that a little distracting to anybody? Does that sort of take you out of the image, or does it sort of frame it in your mind?
I think it's balanced by the one in the lower left.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I like that. Yeah, I like the way this is done. Yeah,
there we are.
I think it's a beautiful image. Beautiful.
There we are. Thanks, gentlemen. Excellent. We'll move on and congratulate the entrant for their 90 gold award. And next image, please. Okay, NGC 5078. This is processing information here is 6 different stretches for the galaxy, the dust lanes, and the background and the stars. Processed and stretched, luminosity and color, starless separately and combined. It's taken with a CDK 1000 and a CDK 700 telescope in Chile. 28 hours of exposure in all. And the scores are coming in thick and fast. And this image has scored 86. Very, very solid silver award. Congratulations to the entrant. Mr. Sidonio, you're closest to the average with your score of 85. Could you talk to the image, please?
Yeah, certainly. It's an excellent image, obviously. It had to be to get to this level. The colouring is really good. I really like the colour that the astrophotographers imparted in the galaxy. It's got lovely dusty reddening feel to it. It's colors of the stars are nicely understated, so they're quite believable. The enigma with this image for me is it's hard to frame this object other than put it in the middle. So I guess it lacks a little bit of interest from that perspective for my eyes. And also, it looks fantastic. When you zoom in, it just has a little bit of a feeling that perhaps there's a bit of extra noise reduction being used. So the stars themselves are starting to look like quite little soft pom-poms. Again, this is really subtle stuff. But again, at this level of quality of imaging we're trying to disseminate between, these little things can make the difference. And so that's probably why I didn't score it a little bit higher, because there's a lot to like about this image.
Fantastic. Thanks, Mike. That's excellent feedback. We'll move on to the next image, please. Okay. The focus for this image was to highlight the comet-like tail of the Cocoon Nebula on a background of H alpha. It's taken in Spain at Pixel Skies on an ASI 2600M Pro with a stellar mirror, 90mm refractor, Antlia filters, and we're looking at 55 hours of integration time. Once again, for the benefit of the audience, if you've just joined us, the judges have all of this information at their fingertips that's been supplied by the entrants, and they can pixel peep these images at 100% on their monitors beautifully. This image has scored 91, a solid silver award. Got a bit of a range of scores here on this one, though, and we have two judges that are 5 points away from the average. One of them is on the high side. Are you comfortable with that score, Mike, or did you want to challenge that?
What was it again?
The image score is 91.
Well, I guess I did go a little bit higher than that. This is another one of those images that just stands out for me. I've seen the Cocoon Nebula image for decades, and this one really has this amazing extra dusty feel to it. I love the composition. I find that the dust itself looks like a completely separate entity, but it also blends in beautifully with the hydrogen alpha behind. So it feels like just an extra good version of an object that we see a lot of, because it really is a very pretty object. It's almost a bit similar to the Trifid Nebula, I guess. I love the stars. They're beautifully tight without looking like they've been artificially shrunk with star shrinking. They've got color in them. It's well composed. It's a fantastic image.
Thank you so much, Mike. We have opened this one up as an elective challenge, so your score of 96 will be locked in. Wolfgang, your score is good in terms of it being solid silver. Could you comment on this image, please?
Yeah, sure. I mean, I totally agree with Mike. The composition is fantastic. To show all that dust and everything. My comment on this would be the dust is pretty washed out, same as the cocoon itself, color-wise. And I see a lot of, I don't know, is it sharpening or is it noise reduction? Difficult to say. In some parts it looks a little bit artificial to me. But yeah, as said, composition and the intention to show it in a way like that is great.
Thanks so much, Wolfgang. Let's hear from you, Lloyd. You've scored this one into the Gold Array Award range as well.
Yeah, I found this interesting because right off the bat, I'd never seen this rendered in quite this way. So it immediately captures my attention, as I think Wolfgang said, or like said, we've shot it all thousands of times. So what's cool is this is almost more of a scientific study masquerading as art. And so from really trying to understand the object dynamics relative to what's going on in the rest of the, in the background, this does a great job of that. From an aesthetic point of view, I agree that the background in some ways has become the show because of a little bit of lack of saturation, I think. punch in, especially the head. But I've never seen anything quite like this, and I would be happy to have produced it. But alas, I'm unable.
You can try.
Oh,
Come on.
that's great, Mike. You've got right of reply. You can carry on, sir.
Yeah, look, I think the fact that the dust's a little bit slightly muted, as Wolfgang mentioned, the top right there, for me, I guess it makes it feel a little bit more like dust. And the fact that it's a bit brighter is contributed to by the fact that within that area of the right-hand area of the dusty feature, there's actually brightness from the stars, so it actually probably should be a little bit brighter. That's what I'm seeing. That's what I'm thinking. So it should be a little bit more muted. But otherwise, the comments are all valid, and I've probably said what I need to say about it. It's one of those things that speaks to me, and I love the fact that that dusty, big, meaty cloud kind of jumps out from that H alpha in the background, and it's well handled.
Thank you so much, Mike. We'll lock your score of 96 in, and we'll ask the other two gentlemen to rescore this image, please. And the image remains at 92. But we had a good chat about it.
It was 91.
Yeah.
No, was it? I beg your pardon. Sorry, my screen doesn't tell me that.
A little weird.
Well done. You took it up a point. Congratulations to the entrant. You've got yourself a gold award. You were going to sing opera every time you talked an image up.
Oh, God.
No. We'll spare the audience that for now. Next image, please. The entrance statement is, this is the Better Fish, ESO 217-25. It's taken from Chile on a Planewave CDK-24 with a Moravian C3 61,000 camera. 16.63 hours of total integration time using H alpha, O3, RG, and B filters. Image score is 89. Very, very solid silver awards. A very, very solid, not quite gold award. Could we, as the scoring is so similar here, could we hear from you, Lloyd, on this one, please?
Certainly. I found this to be quite an interesting image, and it's a very difficult image to capture with the HA and, the little bit of HA and quite a bit of the oxygen. I know the imager spent tons of time collecting this and processing it just so in order to render the delicacy of it. So I think it's commendable at the least to even take this one on. And notice in the upper right corner, the blue HA continues to flow even more and more faintly, but is still quite there. I think those small details make a big difference here.
Thanks so much, Lloyd. Are we looking at a supernova remnant here? I'm not totally familiar with this object.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah.
It's beautiful, I must say. The actual object itself, I can see why they call it the Better Fish, because it does look quite aquatic.
This is actually part of a bigger supernova remnant. I don't know the designation of the whole remnant now, but there are some other parts there as well, but this is the most prominent.
Very good. Thank you, gentlemen. That was the last image in the category. That's completed the judging of remote imaging for 2024 with the Astrophotography Prize. I would like very much to extend my deepest appreciation and thanks to Wolfgang in particular for coming on board and doing double duty and doing two categories.
Thank you very much. Yeah, it was a pleasure.
With 6 coffees and no sleep. I'd like to thank Lloyd for getting up super early in the morning. I think it's 5 a.m. in Atlanta at the moment. Thank you so much, Lloyd, for joining us all the way from the USA. Thanks, Mike, for coming on board and double duty and coming to us from Canberra. And Robyn, I'm going to hand back to you.
Absolutely, no worries at all. Thank you so much, Andy, and thank you so much to the judging team. That was so educational, and I tell you what, I'm never ever going to say sharpness again. I'm going to say crunch and pop. I love that. That is brilliant. I now get the incredible honor of announcing who our first, second, and third place winners are. And we're very lucky to have still Wolfgang and Lloyd here. So as I announce them, I might actually throw to you to give us a little bit of I guess, a reminiscence on why this image might be sitting where it is. So without further ado, I would like to announce that our third place winner, so second runner-up, is in fact Herbert Waller. Congratulations, Herbert. And Wolfgang, you are still on the line here. You are a high score on this one, on 94. What do you remember from this image?
Let me pull it up again. Well, I can't pull it up again. Now I remember it. Yeah, it's the one with the Wolf-Rayet star. Yeah, with that circular outflow on the upper right side. It's a very unique, very dynamic image. Very well rendered. Especially, I know that combining narrowband with RGB is not an easy task, and it looks very natural and very striking. So it's super well done, and congratulations.
Fantastic. Well done to the winner there. So they received an astrography voucher. So well done. And now we move to our first runner-up, so second place, and it is, are you ready? Logan Carpenter. Congratulations, Logan. And Lloyd, I remember you had some particularly positive things to say about this image.
Yeah, it's when you see what's the same object for all of us rendered in a virtually a completely different way, it is striking. And when I first reviewed it, I thought, whoa, what is that? I thought I'd seen everything. So this really, like I said, it serves both as artistic and I think as scientific. I'm not an astrophysicist or anything like it, but I can see that this has multiple purposes besides being quite stunning.
Fantastic. Well, Logan wins a voucher for Deep Sky West, 300 USD. So you may well be hearing from Logan in the future.
Indeed.
All right. And now I have the honor of announcing the winner of the remote imaging section of the 2024 Astrophotography Prize, and it is Julian Shapiro. Congratulations, Julian.
I know Julian. Good job.
You know Julian? Sensational.
So he's relatively he started not all that long ago with a lot of support from his parents, and he's killing it.
That's so great to hear. So this is this new generation that you're talking about in terms of astrophotographers coming through. That is super exciting.
We have to pay attention to them. They do some new things. They have new equipment, new capabilities. So, it's kind of like when I started, everyone was talking about gas hypering film. I thought, oh my goodness, I'm not doing that.
Lloyd,
similar things happen.
It is super exciting because you have very, very generously sponsored 1,500 USD worth of annual subscriptions. So I think this will probably skyrocket Julian even to the next level.
How about that? That is awesome.
That is great.
Wolfgang, did you have any takeaways from this image as well? Because I know that you were particularly...
Yeah, the thing was I commented on the wrong image before, because the one I commented on was the galaxy, and actually my comment on the third place was the one that was meant for this, because I didn't see that image up there. As said, exceptional image, very dynamic, beautifully rendered, very nice combination of narrowband and RGB, which is very difficult, and it looks super natural. It's not over noise reduced. So actually, you what I like about an image is you don't see that, you don't see what's been done to it, and yeah, really deserves it. Great.
100%
So,
agree.
Imagine
And
doing the Squid Nebula like 3 or 4 or 5 different times. That's kind of what had to be done here. And
Mm.
congrats, because I've never done it once. So that's beautiful. 5 times in one.
amazing feedback. Thank you so much. So thank you to our judges. Thank you to all of our entrants. This, we're trying something new here with remote imaging, and I can only see it growing. And, I particularly love something you mentioned, Lloyd, in that it's inclusive. I love that people can turn up in their RV and you're open to telling them what it's all about. And inclusivity is so important with keeping the passion for astrophotography and all these skills alive. So I really applaud you and all that you are doing there. It just makes me extra excited for next year and what we're going to see from Julian and our other entrants as we grow in the Astrophotography Prize. We've sort of gone out this year. It's kind of the first year we have done this, and I tell you what, it has been heartwarming and encouraging. Our judges who have come on board, our sponsors who have come on board, and of course our entrants. We couldn't do it without our entrants. On behalf of Andrew and I would like to wholeheartedly thank you for coming on board and being a part of the Astrophotography Prize for 2024. And I'll quickly show you the beautiful trophy, remote imaging trophy, as I sign off for this year, and wholeheartedly encourage everyone to enter again next year as we continue to grow this prize. Andy, any last words before we close off?
oh gosh, does this mean I can go and get a beer now?
Yes, the last 6 months worth of hard work has come to a close. Congratulations.
Look, it's been a bit of a dream to bring this to the world and to bring the world to connect the dots, if you like. What we wanted to do with this competition was very much to, I guess, bring some of the best astrophotographers in the world together to assess and look and pore over beautiful imagery. We're delighted that the entrants have supported it, but we're particularly delighted that we can actually put faces to some of these amazing names, some of my astrophotography heroes, and bring them all together using the technology of YouTube and Zoom. And it's been a dream come true. Thank you, everybody, for your involvement. It's been awesome. And now I'm going to go get a beer.
There you go.
Okay.
Awesome. And with that, we will sign out. Thank you, everyone. It has been an incredible event, and we look forward to seeing you again next year.
Thank you.
Thanks, gang.